All right, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Wednesday, August 30th, 2023. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, let's get into it today. So markets here, having a decent little update, kind of fractionally higher there on the spiders, actually about 0.5%. So I suppose not fractionally. We did inch up. A little pullback, filled the gap intraday, and then kind of just floated higher here on very light volume. Markets here finishing the day, 62 million shares. So very light, definitely August type volume here. And we've talked about that earlier this week. That's why we expected neutral to up most of the week here. It is the last trading day for the month of August tomorrow. So we may have some end of month window dressing and so on and so forth, as I've already kind of talked about. And again, it's just kind of a light volume, general light volume period here as we get close to the month of September. Now, what we are doing here on the charts, we did get above this trend line, and looks like there's definitely confirmation above that right now. And now we're kind of going into this 452 area. So that is going to be resistance here moving forward. That's the big level, and we're a little overbought going into that. In fact, the same move that we had from the 14th down to the 18th. We did here. So it's about 15, 16 points, and we did that there in 4 days. So a little stretch to short term, but nice rally here, and we won't take anything away from the market. Again, we had more economic data today. I think this is kind of the market's way of pricing in. Well, we have PCE tomorrow, and then we have the NFP number on Friday. Now, obviously, we had the jolts yesterday. That came in way cooler than expected. And, again, market looks like it's trying to price in basically a much cooler than expected NFP number. Now, do we get some backing and filling off that? It's certainly possible. What's kind of driving the market higher right now? My guess is mostly yields pulling back. I mentioned window dressing. That is some of it, but you got yields and the dollar pulling back. And we talked about this resistance level here on the DXY. It did get above the big one, but now you're kind of going into that weekly 50 MA, and you're getting a pullback here. So again, probably needs to do some consolidation, maybe some backing and filling. First real level here on the dollar, which generally we wait to cover this, but since we're talking about it right now, first levels, right around 102.65, and then right around 102 even. I think there's a lot of daily chart support in there. We may not even get there. Maybe we just chop around here, then pull, kind of curl back up. But dollar index does look okay, but it is pulling back, obviously. And that's giving bonds a little bit of a tailwind, which gives tech a tailwind, and the market loves it when these types of things happen. Obviously, it gets the Fed closer to pausing too. So if we get continued weak economic data, that's more likely to happen in the fall. So again, market may be trying to price that in right now with this little bid here. But again, I do think next week, post Labor Day, we could get some more volatility. We are just kind of seeing the market float up here on light volume. That's generally the case going towards a holiday weekend. You're going to see light volume, and you always want to give the market kind of an upside bias when you see those things. But we'll see what we get tomorrow, and we can see we're going right into. There's lots of pivots right here around 450. Well, we basically hit it today. So we'll see it tomorrow, 452, and then you've got the gap window at 453.52. So those are the big levels there to watch on the spiders. For the triple Qs, I'm just watching 380. So that's really, and then again, that coincides with that gap window. That's also a big pivot level that we went into previously, and we pulled back. So again, we'll watch the Qs there, but those are the big technical levels to watch going into the end of the week. Russell 2000 still on the weaker side, not participating as much in the rally, although it did have a nice outside move the last 2 days. And again, going into the 50, we talked about the 190 handle. We're just shy of that right now, stalling out right at just shy of 189 rather. There is a couple of gaps right up here, not too much higher. So we'll see, maybe that can get hit. But bottom line, you held this area, and you're getting a little bounce there on the IWM. So we'll leave it at that. Maybe it can, maybe if it consolidates, it can have one more push up here. But we're also getting a bounce like everything else. Dow back above those moving averages, now up 78 cents. Back above the 20 and the 50, and again right into this kind of breakdown area, right? So that's where we went. We pulled back. So we'll see what that does here. If we come back down and fill that gap, it's likely we could take out this pivot. If we flag or pull back and put in a higher low, then we can go up and retest the highs there. But Dow again, pulling back intraday, nothing too crazy going on. Semiconductors, what's interesting to me is this had a, this was up with everything else. Again, NVIDIA still remains strong, but never quite got above that pivot high from last Thursday. So semi's still on the softer side relative to the rest of the market. We'll watch that. If we don't close above that by the end of the week, it would be kind of like a minor red flag here in the near term. But again, semi's up with everything else up 0.5%. We won't make too much out of it here today, but watch that pivot. One sector that is stronger is cloud software, up 89 basis points, again, going up into the gap window. It was strong. Getting back above that trend line is a sign of strength there. Even after that weak close a few weeks ago, I never like to see that there, but it's holding up well. Should probably get up to 359, 360 right in that gap window, and then you've got the big gap fill up there at 364.52. So those are the levels I'm watching. In fact, that level kind of coincides right here with that pivot high that we hit, back in I think July. So again, those are the levels we're watching there. On the IGV, transport's still struggling to get a whole lot going, so backing off of the 20. We did close above the 50, but still backing off from the 20. We'll see how that trades out tomorrow, but you could still make a case this is kind of like more bearish than bullish. You kind of have like a sideways to up chart where as opposed to kind of the spiders, which are kind of doing more of like this, so more of a vertical move. This is more kind of a float up. A little bit of sign of weakness. If we do get up there and break through that 20, we'll look at 15,150, 15,2 for resistance there on the transports. If we take these lows out, then we can go to 15,250 or possibly even 15,000, but we're not quite there yet. But again, transport's definitely a laggard sector, not something you generally want to see. But again, the market doesn't seem too bothered right now. Again, interest rates, 2-year pulling back a little bit, all did come off the lows. Again, this is still a really strong chart. No real problems here, just doing backing and filling. Same thing with the 5-year. Again, I talked about the 4.2 area, I believe, yesterday. Again, kind of just stalling out right there. 10-year wouldn't even rule out a move back to 4%. But again, this chart is still very good. It's trying to put in that kind of cup and handle look, and I don't really see any problems with it right now. 30-year also backing off just a little bit today. Maybe this can get down to 4.1, but I don't see a ton more downside than that right now. At least not in the near term. Again, same kind of pattern, up move. Could be trying to put in that handle. We got the cup there. So we'll watch yields here. They are pulling back. That does make sense. Again, with the economic data we're seeing, with the market starting to now try to price in a Fed pause. So yields pulling back. But bigger picture, the trend is very much up. So just be aware of that. XHB getting a nice bid. So that's outside move, reclaiming trend there. Above the 50 and 20, and now kind of back into this breakdown area. Maybe they can get to 84 here in the near term, but that should be resistance moving forward. But nice outside move there for XHB. ITB, same thing. Again, that will have resistance at 86.50, 86.75. Maybe even this red bar high at 87. Am I seeing that right? Yeah, 87.50, 87.40. Either way, still inside of that red bar, but it's had a pretty good bounce here the last couple of days, so we'll leave it at that. VNQ here also getting a nice bid right to that 83 handle and then pulled back. So again, there's your bear flag breakdown. We're back testing that. Next level is still 84. We've talked about that a bunch of times here, and we'll see if it can get there. May need to do some more backing and filling, put in a higher low, but no real problems there. If it does break down, again, I don't see it getting through 78 anytime soon. And again, weekly pattern's still not terrible. You do have those higher lows, which I like. That's a good sign. Your next kind of step here would get a weekly close above 83.19. That would be a significant move for the VNQ. But again, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We still got some economic data coming out the next couple of days. XLF a little bit better here, so up 2 cents on the day. Nothing crazy. We went into the gap, tried to run up, and this will be something to watch. If this doesn't get to gap, if this can't go fill that gap, could be a sign of weakness, right? So there's your breakaway gap. We pushed up, we got rejected a little bit. If it starts to head lower, that's a sign of weakness. Definitely want to see it go up there and fill that gap sooner rather than later. And then you could potentially put in a pattern to move higher. But again, financials still very much on the weaker side. You see the KRE there. Again, it's kind of like it just back tested that 44.50 area. and pulled back a little bit. So not the greatest look there. KBE still struggling with that 50 moving average. So Fins definitely on the weaker side. Are they telling us the commercial real estate's going to be a problem? It certainly could be a thing. VNQ seems to be in okay shape. That's why I cover it every day. But Fins definitely still laggards. And we'll definitely make note of that moving forward. XBD still hanging in there. That can still get to 510 in the near term. Crude here, again, getting a little bit of a bid. Again, still just weekly consolidation. I don't really see much going on here. The pattern's still fine. Up move and up, sideways to down pullback inside of this green, I don't see any issues here. If this consolidates a little bit longer, you can push through that, and then we can make new highs in crude. And then XLE, again, same thing, floating up here, up 44 cents. Again, you guys know I like this weekly pattern still. You base a little bit longer, it's going to go through this level, and then I think we're going to make new multi-year highs on the XLE as well. Same thing with XOP, looks fine, weekly consolidation, as is the OIH. Nat Gas getting a nice bid, up 5.5% today. So kind of I would say gap and go. We gapped yesterday on the contract, and now we're rallying. If you get above this pivot here, 286, then it's back to 3. Let's put our trend lines back on there. 286, and then 3. And if you get through that, you have the 200 moving average there, but I think, you guys know where I stand here. This is kind of the squeeze level. We get through that, you could see a much, much bigger move. And I think Natty's getting close here. Got those higher lows, nice ascending triangle look. But yeah, nice day there for natural gas. We talked about the dollar already. Again, 102.50, 102 even will be a level to watch there. There's your previous breakout level. But gold here getting a decent jump today, up about $6, still struggling with that 100 moving average. We talked about the 1980, 1975 handle, and we went to 1977 today, pulled back just a little bit. We'll see what kind of pattern we get. This may need to do some flagging, backing, and filling. Then your next level is around 2,000. So again, gold getting a nice bid with the weaker dollar, but watch the dollar here. I don't think that trade is anywhere done or gone. We're just doing backing and filling there on the DXY, but obviously that's helping out the precious metals right now against silver, pumping up with that gap. Yesterday, off of the rollover, again, went up to about 24.45, 25.45, 25.50, right into those pivots. If you use the XLE to kind of negate that gap there, got very close to 23 and then pulled back a little bit. Again, we'll see what kind of pattern that puts in. May want to come back in and fill that contract gap. But again, the weak dollar is going to help out metals, obviously. Platinum flattish on the day. Put in a little doji here after a big run into resistance, so this may need to pull back here. But nice little pop there on PL. We'll see how that reacts at 960 if and when it gets there. Palladium, again, still stuck in a range, nothing going on. And may go back to not covering this for a while, because ever since I started covering it again, it has completely died out volatility-wise. So we'll see. But PA, not doing a whole lot. Copper here, basically flat as a penny. This can still get to 390. But again, I'm still looking for a move down to 340 on that. All right, lastly, Bitcoin here, pulling back just a little bit, kind of right into the 220 moving average. Again, we talked about 28.5, didn't quite get there. Kind of got close to this pivot right here. But 28.5 goes all the way back to this level here, so that's why I've got that drawn in. A little bit of a pullback. Again, we'll have to just wait on pattern. If this flags up, then it can have a zigzag up. But as I said yesterday, I don't trust any move here in Bitcoin, just because we had a really nice weekly pattern that broke down. Then we had a nice bear pattern that broke the other way. So, they can have fun with it. It'll move where it wants to move, and it'll do it without me. So, but Bitcoin here, little pullback there into those moving averages. We'll see if this firms up a little bit. And if it does, again, your big weekly resistance level will be at 30,086. That's your red bar high. So that's going to be a level to watch on a weekly close. All right, anyways, wrapping up here. So just quickly, again, PCE tomorrow. Market's a little short-term overbought going into that. We did consolidate a little bit on the hourly, so maybe we can push up a little bit here. But again, if we kind of break it down into these shorter time frames here, go to a 4-hour, again, you're seeing that's where we broke down from, and then there's your gap window, and we're up 16 points since 9:30 on Friday. So a little stretched here. We'll see. But this is kind of your zone to watch. We're right into that. Maybe the PCE number gives us an excuse to pull back a little bit. And then obviously end of month, we'll see what kind of shenanigans the market puts in here. But right now, markets are holding up, and we'll give the market kind of an upside bias unless proven otherwise. The one thing I will say here in the short term is, if you look at the last couple of days, we just, outside of right here, we just gamma squeezed up. So if we lose 449 for any reason, there's not really any support, going down to like 445. So just keep that in mind, like we did last week. Big move up, we sliced it right back down. Big move down, we came right back up. So just be aware of those things here. When you get the 0DTE kind of environment that we're in, that's just the way things go sometimes. So if we get some type of surprise somehow, I know Powell leaked the PCE, but who knows, maybe it's a surprise. Just keep that in mind. 449 would be a level you don't want to lose on the downside, because then there's really no support till 445 there. But anyways, guys, can wrap up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I'll talk to you guys all tomorrow.